You've been born. Welcome to humanity, and your brain has gifted you with musicality. While music is a social and cultural construct, meaning that it's something we create ourselves, musicality describes the mental processes that underlie musical behavior and perception. Your brain is trained to respond to emotional and intonational aspects of the human voice, an important feature of human biology. Despite only an 8% body mass difference, adult males have a voice about 50% deeper than females.
Yeah.
Your brain adapts to processing information being delivered at different pitches, but studies show Tweety Bird and the rest of the animal kingdom have trouble with this. Relative pitch allows you to recognize relationships between notes to transpose the same tune in a different key. So if you hear Mary Had a Little Lamb sung in a high pitch by Mickey Mouse or in a low pitch by Darth Vader, you'll still recognize that it's Mary Had a Little Lamb. Tweety Bird and Curious George would think they were completely different songs. Okay, humans notice the nuance of pitch. But what happens when you lose the sense of hearing, or never had it in the first place? The brains of the deaf and hard of hearing can rewire to feel music rather than hear it. The information is processed in the brain similarly to how others hear sound. Even without the ability to hear, music finds its way into our bodies. And for some people, that experience results in feeling
Welcome to the 5th serving of the Soup Bowl. Today's topic, what is music? But before we get into what is music, I'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It's really important. And it benefits me in a big way on YouTube if you subscribe to this channel. Please help me out. And that notification button, that lets you know when we go live with a serving. Anyway, let's get it going. What is music? How important is music to you? Can you go days without hearing any music? Some say they can't function without coffee. Do you feel the same way about music?
Just what music means to me as I just think about it. I'm 57. I remember from music from the 70s, 80s, 90s to current time. And so music always brings me back to a current period in my life. So I just, when I hear a particular song, it'll remind me of a particular time in my life. And just, so for most part, music is something very joyous, something very enjoyable. So that's just kind of what music means to me.
Reggae music, 10 seconds, love, respect, mutual vibe, painkiller.
These are like birds chirping. I'm in the nature. I just woke up and there's curiosity. I have hope. And then longing, desire, answers and solution, but then something dark. Hope. There's something there. Some kind of confusion. I don't know where it is. confusion and then turmoil, chaos. And then delight, hope solves itself. It's just resolution. Oh, that's what music does for me. I don't know how else to explain it. That's the journey that music takes me on. And this new composition of mine, that's what it does for me. When there's something in my life that I don't know how to give words to, my spirit speaks for me through my fingers, through the music, through the notes, and my soul finds peace.
Mm. Does music influence culture? Or does culture influence music? My thoughts are, music is a multifaceted art form that ignites or engages our emotions, senses, and intellect, making music a fundamental part of the human experience. Let me ask you, does sound physically touch you? Have you ever stood in front of a speaker and felt the sound? Was that air or sound or a reaction from the sound? Have you ever tripped off, have you ever been to an air show and tripped off the sonic? Is that a form of feeling or hearing the sound? Meditation. Is music meditation? I actually touched on this theory in my audiobook, Through My Windows, in chapter 38. I would like to encourage you to grab this audiobook if you don't have it. You should check it out. And real talk. If you can't handle the ticket price, please email me and we'll get it out to you at a reduced price. Because I really want cats to check this audiobook out. Now back to meditation. In this audiobook, I go into detail about biblical teachings that Lucifer, or the morning star, or the day star, or the name that we all know better, Satan, which means adversary of God or humanity. Now, before I say what I'm about to say, let me say that the Bible doesn't actually say Satan was in charge of music, but the scriptures do suggest that he had a powerful musical role. But in saying all that, it's not confirmed. But the angelic world is described as worshiping God through music. So those statements are very easy to believe that he may be. Especially since Satan has been labeled as the high-ranking angel. So high that he was able to lead a rebellion and persuade 1/3 of what number of angels, we don't know, but it was 1/3 of angels that followed him. Here are some scriptures that you could look at regarding this belief of Satan and music. Ezekiel 28:13 and Isaiah chapter 14 verses 11 and 12. Check it out, man. Now, I want to load a couple of scriptures I didn't speak of in the audiobook, but you should add these to your studies if you choose to dig deeper into this serving. And those scriptures are in Revelation and Job. Revelation 5, verse 8, and 15, verse 2. And then, of course, Job chapter 38, verses 4 and 7. Check them out. But now that we somewhat established what music is and the possibility that Satan has perverted it, because that's now his and 1/3 of the fallen angels that followed him, this is their occupation. Pervert, destroy. You know the attributes. Now, in that mind state, ask yourself, is meditation a form of is music a form of meditation? I say yes. Music is a form of meditation, or at least a helpful tool for entering a meditative state. You know, while traditional meditation often involves focusing on breath or mantra, music can serve as an alternative focal point, allowing for mindfulness and relaxation. When actively listened to, music can help quiet the mind and reduce distractions, similar to the effects of breath-focused meditation. So I got a question. Is music a form of meditation? Is music spiritual? You know, the Bible mentions meditation 23 times, with 19 of those 23 times being in the book of Psalms. King David is known for penning at least half of that book. Thank you, King David. I find it very interesting. Meditation, that is. Very interesting. But yo, if you're really locked in right now, you notice I'm asking you, the watcher, the listener, questions. And that's on purpose. As I stated in my first serving, one of the main purposes for this podcast is to spark dialogue and challenge what we think we understand. In saying that, I have another question. Is frequency a sound? And if so, is music frequency? You know, let's read this together, man. Music is composed of sound, and sound is fundamentally a frequency, or more accurately, a collection of frequencies. No way! Sorry, I hit the mic, man. Interesting. But, okay, since we associate music with sound, is it safe to say music is a frequency? Or music is made up of sounds and frequencies? Let's check it out. This man, Mr. Heinrich Hertz. Mr. Hertz. His name says everything. But before we unpack Mr. Hertz, let's get an understanding on what hertz are. Hertz are a unit of measurement for a frequency. Once again, a unit for measurement of a frequency. Now, me being an electrician, I always found it interesting how Hertz represented two different theories. One being alternating current, AC.
The number of times per second the AC changes direction is known as the frequency, which is measured in hertz or cycles per second.
And then two being frequency of sound waves. So you have electricity, you have frequency. Two different theories. Now, hertz and frequency is what Mr. Heinrich Hertz specialized in. This man studied and discovered what we call hertz in 1986 through 1988. Now, allow me to go off topic for a minute by saying I find it interesting how science would say the Bible does not support science. But yet, the wiser we get, especially in the age of AI, you now see science supporting the Bible. Is that because it's catching up? Interesting. But that's another topic, and that's not easily explained. So let's just stick with Mr. Hertz.
Thank you.
Who studies. Mr. Hertz studies are a extension of many studies by many scientists. A lot of cats was going in on this stuff. But two in particular I want to talk about. The first one, Mr. James Maxwell. Then we have Mr. Richard Caton, who built off unfinished studies in 1875, 13 years before Mr. Hertz. But Mr. Hertz, his discoveries on radio waves opened up the door to many theories, thanks to Mr. Richard Caton.
Thank you.
But what were Mr. Richard Caton's studies on? Let's talk about it. Mr. Caton. Using animals, and I'm sure a certain race of humans, you know what I mean. Mr. Caton, he discovered certain reactions and moods to different frequencies in his studies. Now let's quantum leap 13 years, back up 13 years to Mr. Hertz. And then 2 years after Mr. Hertz, this man by the name of Adolf Beck steps on the scene. Now, Mr. Adolf Beck, he mostly expanded on Mr. Caton's studies in 1890, also contributing some important things about frequency. So we had Mr. Richard Caton, Mr. James Maxwell, Mr. Heinrich Hertz, to Alfred Beck. These individuals and their studies became stepping stones to other scientists.
Thank you.
Like Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Heinrich, a whole 35 years later, in 1924, this man uncovered alpha waves, which opened up the door to exploring and discovering other frequencies. There's the alpha waves, like the delta wave. And then the theta wave. And then the beta wave and the gamma wave. Now this gamma wave, this is where we start to add spices to the bowl.
Woo!
If you look and see, gamma waves, they operated at 30 plus hertz. Now, you can't really pinpoint a sweet spot for hertz in music because it depends on what you're going for and what instruments you're working with. But in the realm of bass and drum, which is the glue in hip hop, we danced around 40 and 60 hertz when mixing because this created that vibration that sucked you in. That boom, 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 that be humming, getting you. That's that 50 and 60 hertz. Now you can do this little test of the theory on yourself. Ask yourself, have you ever firstly liked a song because of the lyrics? Or was it the beat, the sound, the frequency that spoke to you firstly? Let's read up on this 60 hertz. Let's read this together, man.
Let's go.
60 hertz sound frequency, often associated with gamma brain waves, is linked to potential benefits such as enhanced focus, mental clarity, improved memory, and even reduced anxiety and improved mood. It is also suggested that it can aid in achieving a, what's that word? Meditative state.
Whoa.
And improve sleeping habits.
Wow.
Very interesting. I spoke about this Hertz thing in a song I got called The Samplist. Let's check it out. Yeah. Out here operating just like a doctor. Locate the vibe, sample it, make sure the input is proper. Then transform into the big chopper. The tools used would be the MPC, the SP1200. Out here operating just like a doctor. Hold up. Am I supposed to be getting hype to my own joint? The 12-bit hip-hopper, final shopper, breakdancer, b-boy, pop locking. Yeah, that's the roots that I offer. So dig in like it's Rasta pasta. We taking over your territory like a mobster. With the consciousness I foster through rap 1,000 times. You can play this back, never getting tired of the track. Too many elements for you to unpack. Blame native instruments for that. Got me on my MK3 up late in the zone, trying to capture these tones. I'll repeat in the dome. Turn off the phone, a talk to you after. I send these sounds to the transient master. The griminess I'm after, it's a craft, sir. All about the kicks like soccer. Man, we operating like a doctor. Putting earbuds to work. Dial that low in between 30 and 60 hertz.
What?
What did that dude just say? A doctor putting earbuds to work. Dial that low in between 30 and 60 hertz. What? Got energy coming up like burps. Yeah, man. I've been on it. I've been studying it. I've been talking about it. I'm understanding these hertz, man. You know? But back to this studio thing. Now, all those different instruments and sounds, in order for them to cut through each other smoothly, you have to play with many different frequencies. But they all are starting at a point, or they all have a starting point for mixing and tuning, which is usually at 440 hertz for many reasons. Now, after studying the fact that music does affect us physically, once again, I have a question. Does music affect us mentally? Does music affect us spiritually? Let's hear from a dude, individual, a cat that many people call crazy or cray-cray, but yet many people say are a genius. Let's hear from these brothers.
The 808 exists in the lowest chakra of your body. The majority of content that's related to the 808 is killer or sexual content. The original 808s was even off pitch. So that meant it's an actual sound in the track that you don't realize is there that is fucking up your entire frequency. Right. And now, today, every time I hear a car come out, it's 808. But if you think about African music and hip hop and what we was breakdancing to, it was light. The percussion. It was upbeat. It was the drums.
Quite disturbing, right? Let's listen to Dr. Wesley Muhammad having the same opinion.
Them 808 produce low frequency sound. Its signature is low frequency sound, and that 808 drum beat, the low frequency drum beat. And remember, how do shamans create altered state of consciousness? In indigenous cultures, it's the drum beat. The drum is the tool to drive one into altered states of consciousness. So the 808 machine, the signature of hip hop, the drum beat, that most of the 808 beats are in low frequency. Trap music is 808, it resurrected 808 beats. Because now the words are the command message. Right. The hypnotic command.
The 808 refers to a type of drum machine that has been widely used in hip-hop and electronic music, known for its deep, resonant bass sound. These low-frequency sounds, often referred to as sub-bass or bass drops, contribute to the distinct and powerful nature of trap music. The drum beats serve as an auditory tool, driving listeners into an altered state of consciousness through rhythmic resonance and low-frequency vibrations. The manipulation of frequencies, especially in the low range, can have various effects on the listener, both psychological and physiological. Trap music resurrects the 808 beat, using them as a commanding sound foundation, where the lyrics serve as a powerful message directing the listener's experience.
What? Does music affect us mentally? Does music affect us spiritually?
What I'm going to be talking about today is frequencies in music, in the music that you and me listen to. And this is something that X also talked about.
What's the point of music? You don't know? It's not always to have fun. It's not always to have fun. Sometimes it's to help people find themselves, because music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? I will hope before they go pull some negative shit out this conversation, they pull this part of the conversation, and then see that I'm really actually helping people.
So let's talk about frequencies. The music you listen to, most of the music you listen to is on a bad frequency. It's on 440 Hertz. And when you listen to music at this frequency, apparently, it makes you feel tired, you get bad vibes. I mean, you get lit to the song, you know, it's not the song that makes you feel tired, it's the frequency that it plays on. So it's Spotify, iTunes, the radio, they all play at 440 Hertz. 432 Hertz is the resonating sound, apparently, of like the universe. Just the natural sound is at 432 Hertz, but they play the music at 440 Hertz. And I mean, you can Google this, you can look this up, and just watch So Illuminati's video, he explains it very well. But yeah, you could be listening to your favorite song, and all of a sudden you're gonna feel a whole lot of bad juju, and you're not even gonna know why. And the thing is, you can't see this energy, you can't really hear it neither, you can only feel it, and just how your body reacts to those frequencies. So is the music industry trying to brainwash you, or trying to make you feel down? I don't know why they would, but maybe it's a part of some bigger propaganda. But there is apps, and I actually downloaded an app where you can play music at 432 Hertz. When you listen to music at 432 Hertz, it apparently does not impact you in a way that 440 would. So it's interesting. And I might just show you guys real quick an example of what I'm talking about. Let me just what I'm going to be talking.
Yeah, found that real interesting. Let's see what this dude has to say.
So when you buy music, try to buy it that it's recorded in 432. We only found out about that not too long ago. So people are looking and remastering a lot of the music.
Not too long ago. Hold on to that.
To 432, that was done in 1950. And 432 and 440 is dissonant. It's not harmonizing to the soul. It is not smooth. It is dissonant. In other words, it's negative. It will affect you negatively. But it's so subtle, most people will never know the difference. But when you know the difference between 432 and 440, and you can get 432.
Interesting. You know, with 440 being the standard in many classic albums I enjoy, like MJ's first two albums, dope gospel artists I love like Andrew Watts, Pastor T.L. Barrett, and one of my favorite groups, the Jazz Crusaders, and of course countless Bob Marley vibes, LPs, etc. I mean, there's so many I can name. I actually have you see this behind me, man. This is my collection of all my favorite albums, man, right here. So, in saying that, I have mixed emotions about this 440 Hertz theory or conspiracy theory. But I will say, when I meditate on the thoughts, I have to admit that the vibes, they were much more than a good feeling, because they opened me up like a drug would. A lot of these tunes or tones were euphoric before I was introduced to the meaning or the concept of the song. I mean, this vinyl right here, it was the warm analog sound, and then the lyrics. If any of you are old enough to remember buying vinyl, then you know what I'm about to talk about, this part, a little better than most. All you MP3 babies, just listen. Those album covers, those jackets, they were full of pictures, concepts, lyrics, and liner notes. And when you would sit there holding these albums and observing them while listening to the music, it made the music even feel that much better. Would you agree? And it, you know what? Let me do this, man. I pulled out some records just in case I wanted to make this a little more personal. Classic album right here, wall to wall. MJ. Rest in peace, brother. Produced by Quincy Jones. Now, when you would throw this record on and be listening to it, looking through the liner notes, reading the lyrics, did it make the song sound better to you? It did to me. Another classic. Mr. Bob Marley. The mixes on these things from the 70s, it's just euphoric. Right here. All-time favorite group, the Jazz Crusaders. Now, I'd be up listening to the albums while looking at these, reading these liner notes, who played on what, where they recorded at, who mixed it, and it just made the songs feel that much deeper. Shameless plug. Yeah. But real talk, man. You know, another thing, if those album covers were done well, a lot of times it made it to a frame or a poster on the wall. Did that happen for any of you individuals checking out this survey? Or once again, is that only me? But things were a lot different then. Yes, the music was a distraction or a portal to many unhealthy lifestyles and paths. But it didn't feel as controlling and demonic as it does now. Is that because of the digital age? Or because we live in a time where you can sing and rap about whatever you want, dwelling in an artistic space, excited, happy, full of joy to embrace an unruly lifestyle? Now, it's a fact that time ushers in change, but shouldn't change bring in growth and stability? I mean, doesn't it feel that the wiser we get, or should I say the more advanced we become, the human experience worsens? Does it feel like that to you at times? shouldn't we be getting cooler instead of worse? You know, I would say yes and no. No, because there has always been humans who enjoyed being evil. They just enjoy it. But then yes, because technology has created a constant platform for bad-minded individuals to recruit and teach on. It's everywhere, nonstop. So when this mindset or energy is paired up with this 440 Hertz theory, what they were talking about kind of makes sense. I mean, everything is accessible, man. Everything's accessible these days. Porn, murder, false doctrines, witchcraft. I mean, whatever it is that you want to indulge in, just type it in your phone and then boom, there it is for free. I mean, technology has become such a powerful tool that we rather text and surf the internet, E-N-T-E-R, the net, than actually react or interact with God or people, which is a very vulnerable, unhealthy space to be in. So yes, I believe technology has made this conspiracy theory a powerful possibility. Now, there is no concrete evidence that this standard frequency, 440 Hertz, is harmful or evil in its natural form, even though it does enhance your meditative state. But when vocal tones and elements are added to this frequency, now it becomes a reagent, turning this composition into a meditative message or vibe. A good analogy here on the Soup Bowl would be soup is ingredients and broth. What do I mean by that? Broth, though it can be enjoyed as a soup, it's a base, 100% liquid. Instruments or instrumental. It only becomes a soup when you add ingredients like veggies, meat, or both, vocals. And whatever ingredients you add, that determines its flavor, vibe. So without ingredients, it's an instrumental. And without broth, well, it's an a cappella. Would you agree? Now, where did this conspiracy theory start? Where did it come from? How did it start? Let's check this out. Let's read this, man. Gotta stop hitting this mic, man. Let's check this out. Here, where the conspiracy comes from, or in. Let's start over. Here's where the conspiracy comes in. There is allegedly something sinister and evil about 440 Hertz. It is said that the Rockefeller Foundation had an interest in making sure the United States adapted the 440 Hertz standard in 19 1935 as part of a war on consciousness, leading to musical cult control. Without going too far down this rabbit hole, this theory says that tuning all music to 440 hertz turns it into a military weapon. Interesting, man. This junk is deep, man. But, let's switch gears and go to technology.
Thank you.
Technology, which ties all this in. Mr. Les Paul, let's bring these dudes in the room. Mr. Les Paul and Mr. Thomas G. Stockham. These dudes right here are deep and ushered in what we work with today. So let's go through it. Mr. Les Paul, he invented the multi-track recorder and worked on it from 1945 to 1953. But very few had access to his invention, very few. And he kind of got strong-armed to step his game up and hurry up and put something out there or lose his invention to other companies. So 8 years later, he released the 8-track recorder with Ampex. Now, if you listen to some of my old material, in this song I have called Top Ramen Nights, I mentioned the Ampex 456, because that's what we used to work with, tape. Like you see right here, my man Thomas G. Stockham is sitting in front of. Now, you had a lot of dudes putting in work and mastering what they had available to them. Like this dude right here, Mr. George Martin, who mastered the art of recording on the 2-track recorder in 1963. Now, the way this dude freaked out that 2-track recorder while recording the Beatles actually changed the industry and confirmed the need for that multi-track recorder, Mr. Les Paul. This brother, George Martin, he would record the instruments on one track, then record the vocals on another track, then mix them down in mono, then bounce them back onto the 2-track, slightly panning them from left to right, EQing them, putting them off just a little bit until they created a stereo sound. Now, I used to do this with my MPC 60 because it was a mono machine. And I picked this technique up from the neighborhood or studying dudes. I mean, this is how we would do it way before the sampler. And then when the sampler hit the scene, we had to do what we had to do because we didn't have the paper to buy that junk. They were expensive. But our get down, we would bounce sounds from cassette to another cassette, keep creating a loop or an instrumental. And we would call it pause mixing. Big up Pigeon John and B Twice from the Brainwash Projects. Them brothers always pop in my head when I talk about pause mixing because they were extremely good at it. Extremely good at it. But the way we recorded changed a lot when that Tascam dropped. When Tascam dropped that 4-track recorder, in 1979. That mug, you could take it home. Man, a lot of demos were done on them joints. Actually, that's how I came into the game. I recorded my very first song on a Tascam 4-track recorder with my brother, Dave Guzman, a.k.a. MC Scroller. Yeah, but let's go a little deeper, man. Let's talk about this man right here who created DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. Now we're moving to the digital age, and Mr. Thomas G. Stockham, he is responsible for DAW, which we just told you stands for. His influences also influenced the DAT, the CD player, and the DVD. Now, I actually took out some DATs, man. I want to show you this junk real quick. You know what I'm saying? This is what a DAT looked like. See the name on the DAT? It's backwards, probably. I don't know, man. But this is what Ampex's label looked like. This is Ampex right here. Yeah. Little history. Actually, since we doing this, let me pull this up real quick. This here is something on a website that I went to, and it kind of breaks a lot of stuff down, man, on the history of the digital age, how we got it, how it changed the industry, and where we're at now. And you could check it out. The history of the DAW, how music production went digital. Now let's just look at some of these topics. What is DAW software? Right here, this is a picture of the very first digital audio tape record. Wow. And SoundStream. I never really heard of them, but yeah, that's the first DAW machine. Who invented the DAW? This man right here. Who invented what? Multi-tracking. Let's bring both of these dudes into the bowl. Yeah, these dudes, they ushered in the change, man. But yeah, you could peep this out. I'm going to leave links attached to this serving to everything that I've been going through and talking about. I'm going to leave a bunch of links, so if you want to dive deeper into this, you can. But I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this joint up, man. So, in closing, we can't understand what music is without understanding the history. Would you agree? So here on the Soup Bowl, we've touched on that. A very small but important part of it. And like I said, if you wish to study more for yourself, links will be attached to this serving. You know what I'm saying? It's the way we do it here on the Soup Bowl. So, let's recap what we went over. 1. Is music a form of meditation? 2. Music is both emotional and spiritual. 3. Technology has affected how we hear and experience music. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button. Help me out, because I'm trying to get this thing going. And your subscriptions talks to YouTube, talks to sponsorship, which helps me get it going. But if you would like to support or plant a seed, I also have all the apps, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, attached to my channel. You want to throw me a bone or seed, please do. And I'll use it in a wise way. You know, promotion, some better lights, and I can start getting some better guests and get it going. You know, things ain't free, man. And I also would like to ask you to grab this audiobook if you don't have it. You need to get this, man. What you waiting on, man? Like I said, if you can't handle the price tag, email me. We'll get it to you at a reduced price. But if you would like to support the cause and see what the heck I'm talking about, it's right there, man, on Bandcamp. All these servings or podcasts that we're doing, it all revolves around that audiobook. So if you were to check that audiobook and then come back to some of these servings, or continue to check out the servings as I drop them, it'll even make more sense to you. So, until next time, my friends, stay amazing. I'm out of here like your Wi-Fi during a thunderstorm. Ron, take us home, homie.
Let me see. Got some comments there. Teresa says, music is an art, not your personal invention. What appeals to your ear doesn't have to appeal to others. Yeah, because we're all not going to like the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how life is. Everybody's not going to like your music. And that's what I tell artists. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you call yourself trying to make music for everybody, you're making music for nobody. All right. You have to find your target audience. And I guess that would go the same for even a producer like yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know your style and your and what you want to bring to the table. And there's an audience that likes what you put out.